is The Spotlight, bringing you the best in arts edutainment here in St. Lucie Public Schools, and where we shine the spotlight on the arts. We have a very exciting show for you today as we salute the wonderful world of marching band. But before we meet our wonderful guests, let me give you just a few reminders of opportunities for you to see our wonderful students during the month of October. On October 17th at Vero Beach High School Stadium, it will be the Crown Jewel Marching Festival. All fans are asked to come out and support all of the students in the Marching Band Festival at Crown Jewel, Vero Beach High School. And on October 24th at Jensen Beach High School, the annual Marching Band and MPA Music Performance Assessments that will feature all of our high school bands at that location. And then on Thursday night, October 28th, at Fort Pierce Central High School, the Giving Concert. The Giving Concert is the brainchild of Dr. Rolanda Jones, who's the fantastic choral director at Dan McCarty Middle School. The Giving Concert will feature 10 of our school choruses from middle school and high school, and we will give those donations of non-perishable items to Grace Packs, which goes back to help our students that are in need. And once again, we're shining the spotlight on the wonderful world of marching band. And with me this morning, I have three fantastic band directors for St. Lucie Public Schools, starting with Mr. Gary Burnett. Please say hello to our viewing audience, Mr. Burnett.
Hello.
And we have Miss Michelle Warshany from Port St. Lucie High School with us.
Good morning, everybody.
And Mr. Jean Auguste from Fort Pierce Westwood High School. Miss Auguste, hello.
Good morning, Dr. Perry. Good morning, everybody.
I failed to mention that Gary is from Centennial High School. I apologize. Would you, and we'll start with you, Mr. Burnett, would you just share with our viewing audience who you are, a little bit about your bio, your background, so that they'll know who we're working with, who we're seeing this morning, and who they'll be seeing when they see our wonderful students perform?
Sure. Well, I'm a native of St. Lucie County. I was born here in Fort Pierce and grew up in the St. Lucie County school system. I would say from a very early age, I was exposed to the arts. I went to Fort Pierce Magnet School of the Arts.
With academics and the arts.
Go hand in hand. And I would say from that fourth grade experience, it was really solidified at that time that the arts was something I was interested in. By the time I left in 8th grade, I knew that that was something that I was going to pursue. And after joining the military and kind of going off on deployment, I still managed to find my way back to the arts. And so I went to school and finished my degree in music education, and probably the best decision I've made in going in that route.
Ms. Warshany?
So I am originally from New Jersey. I started band in 5th grade, and it was something that I couldn't live without. I went to college in North Carolina at Elon University, where I studied music education and music performance. And last year I taught K2 music in Wake County, which is near Raleigh, North Carolina. And now I am teaching band here in Port St. Lucie County.
And Mr. Auguste?
I started my music career in Colorado at Emerson Junior High School. Moved to Miami to Horace Mann Middle. I graduated from Dillard High School. Went to Bethune-Cookman College. I actually graduated from Florida Memorial University. I was in the Marine Band for 4 years, and I have taught in Broward County for the last 15 years, teaching at William Dandy Middle School and Deerfield Beach High School for 12 years.
So, Mr. Auguste, this is your 16th year teaching.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Warshany, this is your 2nd year teaching. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Burnett?
My first year teaching.
But this is everyone's first year here in St. Lucie Public Schools, and that's what we all have in common. So I'm going to ask a series of questions. I may point to some people specifically, but I'm just going to put this one out there and let's just jump in. How would you define the title of band director and your roles? And just jump in.
I think the band director title is not really a sufficient title. When you look at everything that you have to do, I think you're more so a program director than a band director, because the most of the music programs at school are quite complex, and they don't just consist of band anymore. Like, I have to teach rhythmics and music theory and a couple of other things, as well as being a financial officer for the fundraising things that we have to do, being a counselor for the students, being a PR representative, because you have to go out and promote your group. So there's quite a few hats that you have to wear when you take on the role as a band director.
I would totally agree. Anyone else?
I think along with that, you also have to be a father figure, a strong role model, a real good example of what the kids should be, and a guide to where they should go into the future.
Ms. Warshany, tell us, why did you choose to major in music and become a high school band director?
Well, in high school, I really liked a lot of different kinds of things. I liked chemistry, I liked English, I liked psychology. There was so much that I was interested in. And when my parents said, it's time to figure out what you want to do, I thought of the one thing that I couldn't live without and I couldn't see myself without in the future, and that was music and teaching. So I decided to go with music education.
And what's your instrument, Ms. Warshany? Your primary?
My primary instrument is flute.
Okay. Mr. Burnett, you told us about starting band at Fort Pierce Magnet School of the Arts, which is near and dear to my heart, and graduating here in St. Lucie Public Schools, and then going to military and finding your way back. Why did you decide to major in music and become an instrumental music director, high school band director?
Well, prior to joining the military, music was really the only thing that I knew. My parents were musicians before me, and I've always grown up in music education. So going to the military was my attempt to try to find something new and different, and it just really solidified. Having that time away from music and from my instruments really solidified the fact that I really need to go back to my roots, to my origin, and do what it is that I love. And as a result, that's what was the decision that caused me to continue and graduate from music education.
And what's your primary?
Euphonium.
Okay. Mr. Auguste, you went to Bethune-Cookman College, near and dear to my heart, went to the Marines and played in a Marine band, and then to Florida Memorial U and graduated. And you have been at this for 16 years now. What made you decide to become a high school band director?
I became a high school band director because of my band director. I loved music. He was the one who made me enjoy it. I would not have gone to college if it wasn't for him. I had no idea. And he was the one who got me there, and I realized there was another world outside the world that I was living in. And because of him, I wanted to make sure that the students that were like me would have somebody to tell them in advance. I didn't go to college figure out about college until my last week of high school. So now every day, every time I get a chance, I tell students about college, tell them about scholarships that they can get through music to go to college, so they can, reach out and become better than what their parents were. Because I think every parent's dream is that their children do better than they have.
And what's your primary?
My primary instrument is trumpet.
Okay. You deal with students each and every day. First year teacher, a second year teacher, a 16-year vet, but all new in St. Lucie County. Why is it important to encourage students to participate in the arts?
I feel that there's a lot of things that can be gleaned from arts education that don't just apply to what they do in our band classes, but also to everyday life. They learn elements of discipline, teamwork, leadership, and all these things are important not just at the arts, but also in the real world, in adult life.
I saw you.
Yes, there was a study done, and it said that schools without art programs or arts programs have an average of 72% graduation rate, but schools with arts programs have closer to a 90% graduation rate. And I think it gives students a place to belong and a place to go and learn and build a sense of community.
Yeah, and I asked this question because just like the three of you, music has always been important to me as well. I started in 5th grade on trumpet, switched to French horn. French horn was my primary. I majored in music ed as well, so I like to think that I'm one of you But I know, as Mr. Burnett said, the complexities of the job that you have to do each and every day, nonstop, and what it involves. So, Mr. Auguste, why do you think it's important to encourage every child to be involved? And we'll talk about music, but it's really to be involved in the arts.
It gives them a voice. It gives them a voice. There's a lot that you just can't say with regular words. That's why they say a picture paints 1,000 words. There's things that you can't express without the arts. There's a school, in my experience, there's a lot of schools that don't even have music programs, art programs at all. And those schools are having a hard time maintaining and controlling the grades, the discipline of the school. But when you have the art programs, those schools tend to flourish, especially when the programs are strong.
I'm going to throw a curveball to you right now, and I'm going to throw out something, and I just want you to respond. If I were to say music is science, because we know about acoustics, how would you respond to music is science?
I would say that I agree. When you really look at it from a scientific standpoint, it's nothing but a series of waves of sound that just happen to fall together in these different frequencies that create something beautiful. And it's amazing that the effects that these waves have, not only on our emotionally, but psychologically and physiologically, these waves have been proven to help people to heal, help people to cope. So at its core, yes, music is science.
Can I continue to play? Music is math.
Yes, and music is English, and music is history, and music is everything kind of combined into one subject. So we have the scientific aspect of it, we have the music history, and each culture's history and how it's evolved with music. We have the poetry of music and how words and music play together, and so music is just a little bit of everything. So I wouldn't say that music is just science. I would say that music incorporates a lot of different subjects into one.
I got to get you in here, Mr. August. Music is physical education.
Well, there's a lot of physical development that happens when you're actually playing an instrument, not even with just the marching band, but just sitting down and playing. It takes a lot of physical ability. Being able to sit still is a discipline within itself. But the embouchure, the muscles that are in there's something that has to be developed. It's not something that can be developed like this week and then another month we'll try it again. It's something that has to be developed every day. So in just sitting down, there's physical development that has to be done. And then when you add the marching band, being able to coordinate moving and playing at the same time, because you have this mental thing where you have to play the style of music. You have to understand the history behind it. You have to understand the air that you put behind it. You have to understand where you're going, where you should be going, where you should be making crescendos and decrescendos, the whole aesthetics of music. And at the same time, you're moving and trying to get to this spot on time, on the same step, and in the same mind with everybody else that's on the field. So there's a lot of physical development, mental development that's going on here.
Yeah, I knew you guys would play along with me. Music is science, it's math, it's history, it's foreign language, it's physical ed, because all of those things come to play when a student plays. Now, perfect segue into our salute to marching bands. So here's a question for everybody. It's marching band season, so what's the theme of your show? Because I know you guys don't just play a potpourri of all kinds of different things. Everything kind of fits together. So, Mr. Burnett, you're up first.
Well, our show is entitled Defiance, and it's a...
But you're not defiant. So.
No, we're not defiant. We're playing the music from Avatar. It's very cinematic, and our closer is actually O Fortuna from Carmina Burana. And visually, the show depicts an uprising of the people, similar to the American Revolution, in that a group of people are being oppressed, and that through human ingenuity and through teamwork can overcome obstacles and become, in a sense, defiant to opposing forces that aim to kill the human spirit.
Cool. Ms. Warshany?
Our show is West Side Story themed this year, so you'll hear selections from Maria and Cool. Let's see, we have Tonight, One Hand, One Heart, America. So it's just a fun combination of all of the popular tunes from the musical West Side Story.
Okay. Mr. Auguste?
Our theme is Michael Jackson. It's a tribute to Michael Jackson. You'll hear songs like I Want You Back, Beat It, Never Can Say Goodbye, and Thriller. And pretty much, for us, it's really just simple. We want you to be thrilled when you see us perform.
Now, themes, choosing many different show tunes. How do you go about making decisions about what to play? I know in my mind as a high school band director, I had my own concept. So how do you make your decisions about music to choose? And we'll get to the drill aspect in a little while.
I have a formula that I use. Primarily, it's what is the playing ability of the students, first and foremost.
Everybody's nodding their head, okay.
That is the primary thing you look at first. And then after that, then I decide if I want to challenge them with something that's a little bit more, that's something that's more challenging. And then after that equation is set, then we want to look at what is the educational aspect, what can they learn from that particular piece. And sometimes that's wrapped up in the challenging aspect where it's going to be challenging and it's going to be educational. And then we also look at, well, is it a piece that they know, is it a piece that they love, or is it something that's going to be altogether new to them? So a combination of all these things usually make up our concert.
Anybody else want to jump in? Because you both were nodding your heads down there.
In addition to all the things that Gary had said, you also want to think a little bit about the entertainment value, especially for marching band. We will be playing at the halftime to entertain the crowds, so picking a show that crowds are going to really take to as well.
Okay.
Then I believe the entertainment part is really important, because sometimes you can play something and the crowd doesn't like it. And if the crowd doesn't like it, it actually brings a lull on the band itself. But if the crowd enjoys what you're hearing and the students enjoy what they're playing, it's a great thing. And like Gary said, finding a goal, we look for where they are, and then we try to find something that they can actually reach towards, that they can actually progress to, rather than just stay at the same level.
Entertaining and musically challenging. I also believe that it's just like listening to the radio. When people hear us, and a lot of people hear your groups at football games. Oftentimes, as many that will hear you at a concert. And the last thing that we want them to do is what I used to say is turn us off. What happens when you're listening to something on the radio and you don't like it? You flip the channel, right?
Yeah.
And that's the last thing we want them to do. So you have to keep them entertained. Now, everybody has a theme for their show. And that's basically what we see on the field. But I call it a playbook. And we were talking about entertainment value. Tell us what this idea of a playbook is and some of the selections that may be in your playbook.
Well, for me, the playbook would be the stuff that we play in the stands. We would play we play a song called Hey, we play a song called Wrong Idea. It's more popular tunes that the crowd might be, or our particular school, student body, community might be more inclined to listen to on the radio. So we use those songs as our playbook.
Yeah, our stands tunes include some classic favorites that have been in the school for a while, as well as some new updated stands tunes. So we're playing like Roar by Katy Perry and Uptown Funk and some popular songs as well.
And my favorite from Port St. Lucie High School, do you know what it is? The ESPN theme.
Oh, yes. The kids love playing that too.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Burnett?
Well, we look at entertainment a little bit differently at Centennial. We do strive to play challenging, intricate music on the field, but we look at the visual component of our show as being the primary source of entertainment. It's the music fitting what we're seeing. And although we do have a popular selection of stand songs as well that are incorporated in that, we play Rude, and quite a few other pieces that are quite popular on the radio. So all together summed up, that basically is our entertainment factor.
Okay, I got to ask this question. I'm an old band director. I'm an old music student, band student. Is anybody playing the horse? I guess not. I guess I just dated myself. I really dated myself. Complete with the swing and the da-da. Nobody.
I played
you get it.
I played it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, somebody's got to add the horse to their playbook. Okay. We're talking about marching bands, and we're talking about how things come together. We talked about the theme for your show and the music that's included in your show. But we don't just stand there and play. This whole intricate idea of the physical, the emotional, all of those things fitting together, which includes the drill. So tell us about the intricacies of the drill and how it fits together to help paint a bigger picture and bring the entire theme of your show alive.
I think that the drill should be as equally as important as the music that's being played, especially if, in our case, if you're playing music that the audience is not very familiar with. They have to see how the music fits with what we're trying to show. And in our case, and with our particular theme, we can see a lot of elements of the band versus the color guard, some scenes of simulated war between the two. We can see the oppression of the color guard by the band. And these are all what the audience is following along. We really want to convey a certain emotion while we're playing this music, and by the time we end it, we want the audience to feel a certain way. So all of that's reflected in our visual program and the drill, and then we also have acting that takes place on the field. So it's a whole show, and the field is our stage.
Good.
Yeah, the drill just adds another level to the music and helps to, kind of paint the story of West Side Story, and the color guard is dressed up in dresses, and our male is in pants and a shirt to kind of symbolize the West Side Story characters from the show. And so our drill just kind of helps to emphasize our big hit points and bring out the really exciting elements of the music.
Our drill, we move, and it moves in and out, going into where the high points are in the music, but we tend to use the auxiliary to accent everything that is going on to help the story that's happening. So you'll see the auxiliary do moves that might, like in our case, it's Michael Jackson. They'll do moves that Michael Jackson would have done. You'll see things that are relative to him. So even without the music, if you just watched our rehearsal, they're probably doing something that has to do with Michael Jackson. You can actually see that.
It's really neat when you hear the music, you see the drill, and you see all those components come together. It is all about the visual. I like the word that you use, painting the picture. I believe that the auxiliary guard should be the visual artist. They should add all of the color that helps highlight and bring to life, especially as you mentioned, when the crowd may not be so necessarily familiar with what's going on, and you see the intricacies of everything that we said music is as it folds together in one, and you have to realize that these have got to be some really great students when you look at their ability to understand a foreign language, math, science, physical movement, physical ed, and it all folds together, and they do it as if it's innate behavior. Tell us about your rehearsal time.
Well, we rehearse from 5 to 8 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We've kind of been back and forth with the time, but we found that's the best suitable because it allows the students to go home, take care of some homework, kind of take a load off before coming back to practice. And we find that they're more focused. It's a lot cooler in the day. Mm-hmm. We run into some issues when the daylight savings kind of changes over, but we have lights and stuff that we're able to bring out. So the kids really enjoy the evening practices versus right after school.
Ms. Warshany, if you had to talk to a parent and encourage that parent to make sure that their child stayed involved in music, what would you say to them?
I would say that music provides a really important skill that's kind of been lost, and that is not receiving instant gratification for something. So you can instantly get a message, you can instantly call someone, you can watch a video instantly, you can pull up this instantly, but you can't play a piece of music perfect or near perfectly. You can do a marching band show instantly. And so it fosters that skill of keeping with something and pursuing something over a long period of time, which I think is something that's really important and not as it's not as prevalent with our smartphones. I'd also say that the band fosters a sense of belonging, and so being involved in the marching band or the concert band or the jazz band will give the child somewhere to go after school, will create friendships and keep them out of maybe something that might get them in trouble.
Mr. Auguste, what do you hope students will obtain by participating in your band class?
A love of music, family, and for me the most important thing is the opportunity to get scholarships to go to college.
When we look at this aspect of music, briefly tell me, when it relates to music, what do you know for sure?
I know for sure that music is this life-changing force that we are all seeking to understand, so we continue to find different ways to interpret it, find different ways to perform it, to generate a certain emotional response for it. And once we tap into that force, that we could change the world.
Ms. Warshany?
I would say that I know that every person on the earth can be musical in some way, and so it's important to reach out to everyone, to all the the whole student population, and try and bring them to music, because everyone should have an opportunity to experience music and have a positive experience with music.
And Mr. Auguste?
I believe that music is everything that's around us. It is what helps us define the period that we're in, no matter what time we're in. Music is an example of what's going on in our society. Right now, our society has a lot going on, where all different types of music is being pushed together and making, like, you'll find rap inside of Hindu music, which is something that's not normal in the past. I believe it's just a representation of our society.
Well, I want to take this opportunity to thank all three of you for joining the St. Lucie family, first of all, and welcome Gary back home. It is so neat when we have students that have matriculated through our system come back home to work. I am so excited to be connected to you, and we want to invite our viewing audience to make sure that they go to our football games so that they can see Defiance, so that they can see West Side Story, so that they can see the Michael Jackson tributes and salutes. I want to remind our viewing audience once again about the Crown Jewel Marching Festival on October 17th at Vero Beach High, where you'll see some of these groups perform. On October 24th at Jensen Beach High School, it is the Marching Band MPA, where you'll see all of these groups perform. And to come hear the beautiful music of our choirs on October 28th at Fort Pierce Central High. That's it for this edition of Spotlights, where we shine the spotlight on the arts. We'll see you next month.